Because the mic was muted. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the XwE Podcast. Hey, you got to be spontaneous. That was a work, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to talk wrestling. We're here to work as wrestlers as well. That's why I had to fool you. I am the Macho Huck, and right beside me, I'll allow this man to introduce himself.
This is a shoot because my name is Rich Diaz, once known as the Morgue Man. And in case you are wondering, yes, this beautiful banner that sits right here over my head, reminiscent of this one right here. One day we will be selling it from our shop for all you nice folks out there that listen to this lovely program and watch it to hang up on your walls at home.
It's very nice. I don't know who created it, but I am very impressed.
Well, so am I, and I'm very happy with the work. But besides that, how are you?
I've been doing very well this week. I've been building fences. I've been getting out, getting some exercise. Doing pretty good. It's been an extremely exciting weekend. I'm about to get a goat, as you know. I've told you we're going to get a goat. I'm gonna milk the goat. We're going to have goat milk. We're going to have goat butter, and amongst other goat-like things. So that's where we're at.
Let me know when you have some goat cheese so you can send me some over. But regardless, nice to hear that everything's going good with you. But we have a lot to get into this week because, have we had a week, and it's still going as we're speaking right now. And just so you folks all know, the ones that are watching right now, thank you so much for watching. We will be reviewing a wrestling documentary towards the end of the show, something that we're going to try to do for you weekly, even if it's something that, we've all seen before and stuff like that. You have two longtime marks who, their love of wrestling, built this friendship and this podcast, so we can give our thoughts on it too.
Exactly.
So, sentimental things aside, let's get right into it. And breaking news right here at the top of the program: Obafemi defeats Ricky Saints in the main event of the NXT PLE, which I forget the name, so you guys could roast me for it in the comments later. And will now face Cody Rhodes next week at Saturday night's main event for the WWE Championship. We talk about Braun Breaker and Dom Mysterio and all these people. I cannot wait till we have Obafemi up on the main roster because he has next big thing, next monster, and he can basically a Gunther versus Obafemi match. Please take my money. Your thoughts on it?
Absolutely. I'm all for that. Obafemi has extremely impressed everybody. I love his entrance. A lot of people's like, you didn't know who this dude was until then. I'm sorry. No, I didn't. But I'm excited. And the fact that he's about to now go on and face Cody Rhodes. I'm just saying, how do you see this playing out, honestly? I don't see this being a win or a lose 3-1. I see this being some type of DQ of some type.
Yeah, of course. They started that already last night. Drew McIntyre got beat up by Cody Rhodes at the opening of SmackDown, remember? And now Drew McIntyre will disappear, and then he'll reappear at Saturday night's main event, and he'll screw over the whole thing because, honestly, that's a good finish to that match because you can't be – Obafemi's not going to debut on the main roster and win the WWE Championship.
Right.
That's not realistic even to a 10-year-old who can still sit there and say it's still real to me. And Cody Rhodes isn't going to, Obafemi is also not going to come back on the main roster. Clearly, they have the future built around him. I mean, he even got the Undertaker, handshake some time ago talking about this is your yard or whatever. So they're not going to beat him there either because anyway, this isn't the main attraction of Saturday night main event. So there's nothing wrong with it being just a no contest finish, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't see. It would surprise me if this ended in some type of 3 count, but I'm pretty 99% positive that Drew McIntyre will be making his appearance with this, and because that's obviously now reunited, and the question is like will we see Drew McIntyre win the title this time? Will we see what they've been hinting at with Cody Rhodes this entire time, uh, breaking out of the children's fairy tale and becoming a bad guy? I guess a heel.
Well, we'll get into what I think will be the direction going for the WWE Championship, because I think up until a certain time, there was a possibility that Drew McIntyre would beat Cody for the title and then something would happen. But we're going to get to why I don't think that's going to happen anymore in just a little bit. Because before we get there, we have to get here. And the reason why we've been saying that Oba Femi versus Cody Rhodes will probably end in a no contest, and that's fine because it's not the main attraction for Saturday night's main event. It's actually the last time is now in Washington, which is close to where I live now, but I can't afford the tickets because, I'm not rich. Like, well, by name I am, but that's
We're not
about
the
it.
green shirt guy. That's what you're saying, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
That story came out on Logan Paul's podcast. I meant this is we've got the I don't know if we had this on our agenda or not, but I found that quite unique that he's just a longtime fan that's kind of close in maybe or whatever.
Yeah.
He gives him lots of money, but he never was beat up to get these long lifetime tickets.
Right, yeah, and they did a documentary. WWE did. They produced it on one of their longtime fans, just like Green Shirt Guy, even though he wasn't as lucky as Green Shirt Guy. And he had front row tickets. I remember being a kid and seeing this guy in Madison Square Garden with front row tickets. So,
right.
And you know who I'm talking about. His name escapes me right now, but I guess that'll be a future documentary we could talk about here on the show. But let's get back on track here. So Gunther last night, as anybody with a pair of eyes knew, defeated LA Knight in the finals of the Last Time Is Now tournament, and he will go on to face John Cena in his last match in Washington, D.C. at the Capital One Arena. And it's the last time is now for John Cena. They're saying now there's people saying that it's not the last time. Who knows? But what I do know is this, that after John Cena pretty much put over the entire Judgment Day, because now whoever thought Judgment Day was like stale and needed to like separate, they just got like 6 months tacked on just because John Cena made them look like monsters, all of them. So and when he lost the Intercontinental Championship to back to Dom Mysterio at Survivor Series. So I said last week on the show, and I still stick by this, that Gunther can lose this match because it doesn't hurt Gunther to lose to John Cena. John Cena won the main event of WrestleMania this year. John Cena is touted as the GOAT and whatever. It's not like, they asked him to go out there and lose to 60-year-old Goldberg. And, it doesn't hurt Gunther if he loses to John Cena, especially if the commander-in-chief of these United States will be in attendance, along with the former commander-in-chief of the WWE there. But what are your thoughts on this, Huck?
I'd mentioned that. I asked you about it, and I don't think Vince is going to be there. Is there a chance that Trump could be there? I mean, he might. But could you imagine Trump and Vince in the same building at this point in their career where Vince is and where Trump is? I don't know. That might be too much. That might be bigger than the mega powers, brother. That might really explode.
Yeah. And you know what? Speaking of mega powers, that could be used as this great segue because we actually skipped right over this in our excitement about Obafemi versus Cody Rhodes. Netflix just randomly goes and buys Warner Brothers Discovery.
Right.
And now they own HBO Max, HBO, the Turner broadcast, like the libraries from Turner, but they did not inherit TNT, TBS, and Discovery because for whatever reason, the networks that carry AEW are as confusing as AEW in their business model. That they were Warner Brothers and Discovery or Warner Brothers Discovery or whatever it is, and they split them up. So Netflix basically purchased the streaming rights of everything, and by what the reports say, the sale will be final in the third quarter of 2026. What date that exactly is, I don't know, but but it's if there's 4 quarters and it's the third one, it's clearly somewhere down the line in 2026. And a lot of people are speculating, what does this mean for AEW? Is AEW, are they going to kick them off because, they're going to be spiteful and blah, 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 blah. I think, honestly, first of all, Netflix can't go out and violate an already signed deal. And the only deal that Netflix right now can affect as it pertains to AEW is the streaming rights on HBO Max. Because as I've already alluded to, the TNT, TBS, all that's still for sale. That's still dangling out there for whoever wants to buy it.
Right.
So, which means AEW is fine when it comes to network television. But
so, I mean, what you're trying to tell me is that we're not going to see Triple H appear on AEW television and say, "Yeah, I now own Tony Khan," basically, right?
No, because
what a shame.
Unfortunately, despite the fact that we joke about it, Tony Khan has way more money than Triple H.
He does.
Like not even close. So, and Triple H isn't even like an owner. He's just the guy who runs creative. So I don't know why we make it seem like he's an owner. So
I mean, currently right now, and that's the thing, that's a whole nother podcast we could probably make on its own. Like, how long do you think the Triple H area is really going to last? Because TKO can replace Triple H at any time.
And and I'm pretty sure that he's getting a little hot under the collar. That's why this Obafemi coming to Saturday night's main event thing is happening out of nowhere. Because as we've been alluding to on this podcast, how much longer are they going to rely on the same guys being in the same match? So now we're getting supposedly a rematch that we've had twice at WrestleMania, which, I'll say the whole name of it when we get to that story. So now that we've covered that, before we got to the finals of LA Knight versus Gunther at last night's SmackDown, LA Knight actually defeated main event Jey Uso, who for the most part has been probably, my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, the biggest babyface of 2025. I know that he had me up in arms here and jumping up and down like I was a little kid when he won the Royal Rumble earlier this year. So, but it wasn't so much that LA Knight beat Jey Uso. It's the fact that Jey Uso afterwards threw this temper tantrum and destroyed like the surroundings of ringside, which included the prime stand, which, maybe he was just doing a lot of people a favor by doing that. But do you see a Jey Uso heel turn coming?
Absolutely. I mean, the whole thing of even his brother saying, "You know who you remind me of? Baby Roman." We know where we're going with this. Now, does that lead back to the big three getting back together? I don't know about that. Maybe it just leads to Jey Uso being his own man, as he has been for a while. But he's been that. The thing is, it's just turning Jey Uso heel. It could be a big payoff, but it also, you got to look at the merchandise sales that he does right now, the things with the audience. This is the most engaging entrance That's why a lot of people say it's just an entrance, but that's what gets you hyped. It's like the Ultimate Warrior running down the aisle, and everybody was hyped up. You know, you got this dude in face paint that's running wild, going crazy, shaking ropes. Everybody goes crazy. It's the same kind of thing with Jey Uso coming down from the audience, getting with the kids. You know, like, hey, let's get let's get cool, let's get hyped, y'all. You know, that's a feel good feeling. That's a baby face feeling, and it's a kind of steak knife thing to take that and slit it down and know it could go one way or it could go the other. Uh, I sound like Shawn Michaels in an interview right now, don't I? Making all these. No, but seriously, being able to turn him heel could go really greatly or really badly right now.
Well, I honestly think it's the right time to turn him heel. Because the reason I say that is because that Yeet thing, it's over. It's going to be over for a very long time. Because those little kids are going to grow up to be bigger kids, and they're still going to like eating. And then the adults, everybody likes doing it, so it doesn't matter. It's going to be a thing. And you know what's crazy? The best thing is that in wrestling, when you take something away from the fans, and they're like, God, how dare you do that to us? And they're just there, and they'll be so upset with Jey Uso or whatever. And when finally he turns back, right? And then give him a little while after he turns back. Don't just turn him back babyface and then have him eating right away. Wait and just work that eating. It'll be bigger later on than it is now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I think he's got enough time still in his career to where he can make this big heel turn. And then once he does it for a while and people are still mad, like, we want the Yeet back. You know, and again, not like Cena's heel turn, 4 months, but like a whole, like a year and a half, 2 years. I mean, make this thing really, really hit home to people to where, like, you know what, y'all never did support me anyway. Y'all never did. No Yeet. You know, basically what Roman says, or Jimmy was saying there for a while, no Yeet. Mm-hmm. Because the thing with Jay is that I feel like he can really get into that heel gimmick and really sell it a whole lot better than he does with the face thing right now. But then, like what you said, is that within time he comes back and it could be even bigger. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I say it almost every week. There's a lot of good things happening in the WWE right now. And there's also, I won't say bad things, but confusing things.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like we're telepathic this week. It only took 3 episodes, and we're there. Anyway, confusing. So let's go with that. So earlier, my co-host Huck brought up that do we see a Drew McIntyre WWE title win over Cody Rhodes, which we most definitely should have seen already by now. Honestly, Drew McIntyre should have went into War Games as the WWE champion, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. And now I feel that because of injury and backstage politics, not only will we not see a Drew McIntyre WWE championship reign, we're not going to see a Sami Zayn World Heavyweight Championship reign either. And the reason for that is the following. Roman Reigns, and folks, just know that these are just my opinions. These aren't things that are reported as fact. I am just giving my opinion. Huck gives his own opinion. That's what we do on this show. So Roman Reigns apparently went and tested the waters in Hollywood. And because apparently he's not feeling Hollywood right now, when the reality, in my opinion, is Hollywood isn't feeling him because they're not feeling his cousin. Mm-hmm. He turned back and said, hey, WWE, I know you only see me 6 times a year, but
I'm not
I'm
going
ready to come
nowhere.
back. Yeah, I'm right here. I see everything. That's if you remember Survivor Series when they were saying he's not here, but he was like, "Yeah, I see everything." So Roman Reigns at the end of Survivor Series told Cody Rhodes in the ring, "This is the last time we're going to team up with each other." And of course, everybody has speculated about what's going to happen. So now the rumor and innuendo from the dirt sheets out there is that Roman Reigns has decided that I guess once he made Street Fighter and was cast as like Akuma, and maybe he has like a 30-second scene in the whole movie, he was upset or something, and now he's committed back to WWE. And he has more backstage political power than even Hulk Hogan did, brother, in his days. This is all rumor and innuendo. I'm just reporting what has been reported. And with that, the following has happened. Huck, this is a question. When Seth Rollins won the world championship from CM Punk, did you feel like me that, after the Seth Rollins celebrated with his new group, Division, and all that, that the storyline was going to be Sami Zayn wins the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia and then goes on to face Seth Rollins and defeat him for the World Heavyweight Championship at a featured match at WrestleMania? Did you feel that, or did you see something else?
I mean, from what everything that Sami Zayn was even talking about during that time before he even won that Intercontinental Championship, that's what it kind of seemed like. Even Solo was saying, you're never going to win the world title, and now we have forgotten all about that.
Right.
It went away.
Which brings me to this point. Do you remember when Sami Zayn was on Raw and stepping to Seth Rollins and Division, and Paul Heyman told him, if you transfer over to SmackDown, you can go and I will get you a WWE Championship match against Cody Rhodes.
I do remember that, yes.
And Sami Zayn basically said, no, and I'm staying here on Raw. But then magically, weeks later, he ends up on SmackDown anyway, because he and LA Knight flipped shows, and LA Knight went to Monday Night Raw, and now he went to SmackDown, and after he said he wouldn't go to SmackDown, and now no title match either.
Nope.
But instead, he got the U.S. title against Solo Sikoa. So is Sami Zayn an idiot, or is there something bigger?
I don't think Sami Zayn is the idiot. I think he might be in his mind thinking the same thing that we're all thinking. And that's what I just mentioned, and you said we were telepathic, is that there's a lot of good going on in the WWE, and there's a lot of confusion that don't make no sense to people. Like this isn't like something that just happened. Yeah, or excuse me, this isn't something that happened a year ago. These are things that just happened within the last few weeks that is continuing to be a snowball effect that's going to end up an avalanche of like, what are we doing?
So the scuttlebutt is that Roman Reigns informed those in power at some point before Survivor Series, obviously, that he is going to, come back, and that he wants Cody in a part 3 at WrestleMania, which, if that is in reality what Roman said is the best idea, please don't ever give Roman Reigns a booking job ever, because I don't understand how you have basically the Avengers War Game of, Avengers Endgame of professional wrestling at WrestleMania 40, when the bloodline was dismantled finally by Cody and friends. And then you're just gonna like we're doing Cena versus Rock again, like once in a lifetime until next year, which it wasn't a year apart. The match is like 2 years apart. But the point is that why are we going back down this road again?
Yeah, and this goes even further, a little bit further back to where I remember Solo and his new family came out and attack Sami Zayn on Raw, but also Jey Uso. And I was like, are we going to repeat War Games this year with Bloodline versus Blood? I mean, again, it just it's so confusing to keep up with right now. You know what it reminds me of? End of WCW, and I'm not saying WWE is going to end by any means or not, but it reminds you of like, what the fuck? Oh, what the heck is going on here? That was my first one, ISR.
It's okay. It's still a PG-13 program.
That's true.
But so you're right, and you know what? Now that you say Solo Sikoa and the MFTs, why did they randomly now start a feud with the Wyatt Six and them now, when that could have been the actual War Games match?
That I said it the other night.
You said it last week, and it's true. But back to Roman Reigns. I mean, if they're going to go down this rabbit hole again, and Roman wins back the championship, LOL. Okay, now what? Because if the guy held the championship for 4 years, 1,000 whatever days it was, and lost it, and now he gets it back, which means he's even more immortal because he beat the guy who beat him, right? Then what? Bronson Reed will be his first challenger, and then
and that's as much as I like Roman Reigns and I loved the original Bloodline story and everything it went through, and it kind of went a little too long, but it was still relative throughout that all the way to WrestleMania with Cody and Roman again for the second time, and I'm just, as much as I have nothing against Roman winning the belt. But I feel the same way as you do. Like, what do we do? What now? Why not run with something like you could still go off of that. Why not run with Sami Zayn winning the Rumble or whatever and facing Cody and winning the big one? And then maybe at SummerSlam he faces Roman or something. I don't know. Just do something different, a little different.
Yes, because in my opinion, you let Jey Uso leapfrog Sami Zayn, because if you were talking about people who paid their dues that deserve a world title run, Sami Zayn was due 5 years ago. So, yeah. And you gave one to Jey Uso. You gave one to Damian Priest too. So, and Sami Zayn still has not had one reign with this championship.
I'm going to tell you one of the most memorable WrestleMania matches that stick out to me, and it was a celebrity match that stuck out to me. It's Sami Zayn when he took on Johnny Knoxville, made that match entertaining somehow and sufferable. That if a man can do that with someone like Johnny Knoxville and still go on and do great matches at WrestleMania, winning tag team championships with Kevin Owens, defeating the long reigning Usos, why are we not putting a world title on him? Why is he not winning this year's Rumble? Why didn't he win? What are we doing? Why are we not doing something a little different?
Right. And you know what? To end this right now, because we're getting heated just thinking about it. Like I want the book, but when that match happened with Sami Zayn against Johnny Knoxville in the Jackass match, when it was over, my social medias, I got so much heat from the IWC because I put Knoxville versus Zayn greater than, and on the other side was Steamboat versus Savage, WrestleMania 3. Oh my God, they lost their minds. So
I don't know if it was greater than that, but it was very entertaining. I mean, again, the man took a celebrity match with the idiot of the world and made it good, entertaining.
When he ran the spot, listen, the number one WrestleMania moment should always be Sami Zayn turning around and getting hit by the giant hand from. Oh, well, no, I think he was like running after Wee Man and then he got hit by whatever. He sold it perfectly. And it should be top 5 at least moments of WrestleMania. So,
again, I can't express how much that and here I want to say this before we get off of it. You can take different things like what we're talking about, do something different, and still have the outskirts of tying in the old stuff with Roman, with Cody. Just do something a little different, a little different. Think people would appreciate it.
Exactly.
So
You're not wrong about it. And like you said, why won't they? They could have given Sami Zayn the championship at WrestleMania, and if you wanted him to lose it to Roman at SummerSlam.
boom. Why not we have a big why not we have a big match between Jey Uso versus Sami Zayn at SummerSlam?
Heel
We got
Jey
a
Uso.
bloodline. You know how
Right.
crazy that would be for a heel Jay to face a face Sammy would be freaking
In the main
insane.
event, after
Yeah.
they were basically the catalyst of that tag team main event. Whew, all
Come
right,
on.
we could listen. We'll go on all night about this. So, moving on right now to something a little more refreshing and positive. Liv Morgan is back. Returned that Survivor Series. They gave her the big star treatment because she was like they gave her that surprise spot in the WrestleMania 41 ladies commercial, which now they just basically solidified her as one of the top stars in the company, and she deserves it. Um, and she's back, and it looks like she is ready to wrest this championship from Stephanie Vaquer. Now, my question to you is: do they do it pre-Rumble, or do they do it post-Rumble at WrestleMania? And don't tell me what you want to happen because I know what you want to see happen. We've already spoken about it. But what do
I
you
was about to say
think?
I already said it.
Yeah,
But
what do you think Triple H is going to do here?
he is
Because
gonna rush it and it's gonna mean nothing.
well, yeah, because right now the women's division as a whole, and you know what, the next thing we were going to talk about, we could just bleed this right into this. The women's division, I don't know what's going on there because they have the star power, and you know, it's always been like the internet reporting like AEW has a superior women's division, you know, compared to WWE. And I was like, no, because they have the bigger stars and they have this and that. But just like the men, I've already seen Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. I've already seen, you know, Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. I've already seen Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley. Charlotte Flair versus Alexa Bliss. Charlotte Flair versus Liv Morgan. We've seen all this. So it's a little refreshing with Stephanie Vaquer because she's been, you know, she came in with a lot of hype and she's already the women's world champion, but I feel like she's becoming more of just a move as opposed to a star.
Mm-hmm.
Because if she doesn't have that devil's kiss move, is she really, you know, something that is worth putting in the echelon of a world champion?
You know, that's the thing that I've heard several people say now about she's going to become that one move, kind of like Jay became the entrance. And we all know we like to see the move, but you know, I would hope we're trying to support her more than anything, and I'd hope that the WWE would do the same thing. And I know you told me that, you know, if it was me, yeah, if it was me, you know, Liv Morgan should be winning the Rumble this year finally, and it should be them too, main eventing for that side. I think it's the Raw, right? Raw
Yes, Raw.
Women's Championship. But again, we're going to see it rushed, and it will have no meaning. So confusion is what we get.
Yep. And on the SmackDown side, Jade Cargill won the championship, and it's like she's been destined to fail. She faced who? Alba Fire yesterday on SmackDown, and of course, you know, squashed her in 30 seconds. But how is that good for Jade Cargill? You know, like we've already seen her squashing girls for the longest time because whether people watched it or not, they know that she was from AEW, and she had the same exact gimmick then, where she came to the ring, she posed, and then she did, you know, a match in 5 minutes, and she, crushed whoever it was, and that was that. But now she has no challenger as the world champion. And the way that she won the world championship is another thing that baffles me, because she beat Tiffany Stratton, who was the champion for quite a while. It was Tiffy time for a long time.
It was.
And she basically squashed her for the championship, but nothing followed to follow up.
I get what they're trying to still do with Jade, and maybe that's her thing, is that she is the Storm or whatever. But at the same time, we want to see this woman perform, and that's why I think a lot of people say, "Hey, I want to see Bianca and Jade at WrestleMania," and that'd be a good one, hopefully. But I think they're going to stick her in the ring with Charlotte.
Yeah, Charlotte's definitely the first challenger.
And let's hope that Charlotte, I'm not saying, well, here's the thing. Charlotte would likely beat her at WrestleMania. But if you really wanted to make Jade look good, she would somehow come out the victor. But I don't know. I'm not backstage. I think Charlotte's a great person. Is she willing to lose twice in a row at WrestleMania? I don't know.
I don't think I think right now she's just humbled herself to the point where she's just fine with. I think she realizes that her success was in Vince's WWE.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that she was a Triple H girl, and that she just accepts that, she's more of a bigger role, but on a smaller scale now, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the thing with Charlotte is that she's kind of like a Becky Lynch as well. Like, Becky could lose a match, and Becky's still great. That's just how good she is. Charlotte is that good that she could lose, and she loses nothing. Charlotte could lose at a WrestleMania, putting Jade over and making Jade look like $1 million. And if you're going to put someone to make someone look like a star, make them look like $1 million, you go with Becky Lynch or Charlotte. So it could go that way. That's the way I'd make it go. And even the pay-per-view after, or 2 pay-per-views later, if you really wanted to put the belt back on Charlotte to really get her because I think Charlotte's going to surpass not just her father, but also John Cena. So at the end of her career, I think that's where she's going to be. But, I'd like to see her face Bianca, but at the same time, I think Charlotte would be the right move. And if that's going to be a WrestleMania match, that's where I'd go. And if you really wanted to build Jade up to be this big star, put her in the ring with your best wrestler, and teach her a lesson while still putting her over.
Yeah, that might turn into a Regal Goldberg situation. Yep, but you remember that. So, well, moving away from WWE just for a little while, and let's talk a little All Elite, the Elite.
There's some crazy things happen I didn't expect to happen, but I think everybody's predicting it, right? I think a lot of people have predicted that this would happen.
Yeah, Mercedes Moné, as we've predicted already, has started her descent down the ladder. She lost the ring of one of her 162 belts. She lost the Ring of Honor Women's Television Championship at Final Battle last night to Red Velvet. For those of you who may not know who Red Velvet is, if you don't follow Ring of Honor, once upon a time during the pandemic, she teamed up with Cody Rhodes in the match against Jade Cargill and Shaq. Mm-hmm. So there you go. That's who Red Velvet is. And
it's also a good cake. Bad joke, dad joke. I'll take my leave.
So Red Velvet defeats Mercedes Moné for the Ring of Honor Television Championship, and now she's down to 12 of these belts. And this is
Isn't that
basically
crazy to say? She lost a match, lost one of her belts, and she's down to only 12 belts. Oh, God.
poor thing. She's going to lose everything. But this is the storyline that Tony Khan is going with, that she's going to lose all those belts. And then as babyface Mercedes, who is now humble, wins the AEW World's Women's Championship. So good on them.
Do you think like this headline right here that says the downfall of Mercedes Moné is starting? This story is going to be real interesting. Do you think she is gradually going to lose every single title, but at a rapid rate and just fall apart?
Yes. And I think that was the start of it yesterday. And now, they'll report tomorrow that she's right now in Budapest, Hungary, defending one of the championships that she won over there. Oh, a cameo. And so they'll report that she's in Budapest, Hungary against, starving woman of Budapest, Hungary, and she beats her with no footage or anything, like Pat Patterson winning the Intercontinental Championship in Rio de Janeiro. She comes back with only 11 belts, and then they'll just gradually get down to where she only has the TBS Championship from AEW, and then she'll lose it to whomever they decide to give it to over there. So there's that. Now that we're talking about belts, AEW's title confusion. So last week I tried to explain to you the Continental Championship was unified with the International Championship, which made the Unified Championship all that was won by Kazuchika Okada, who then now the Continental Championship is back on the line in the Continental Classic, which we'll talk about in a little while. And they were never actually separated. So now AEW heard the criticism from the fans and decided to sort of explain this in a backstage segment where Don Callis said that the unified championship that Kazuchika Okada was carrying around was actually just a symbol, that the two championships were always separated. He just had it as a symbol. But here's the problem, Huck. He defended the symbol. At Forbidden Door this year, Kazuchika Okada defended the unified title symbol versus Swerve Strickland. So what do you mean? Was it a championship then and you decided to make a symbol now? Like what are you saying?
This is worse than when you told me about it last week. What do you mean it was a symbol?
That's what they said. I don't know.
This is way worse. Now, see, again, I was just talking about confusion with the WWE, but I will easily still try to keep up with the WWE more than I will to say a freaking belt is a symbol now, but it was once a belt. I don't know.
And then they introduced the other belt that they gave to your friend Ricochet. So what do you? They have four men's mid-card titles. Why do you need 4? And they're all in the same weight class, I guess.
Belt. It's EFED.
Yeah. And it's like, and there's no like, I could understand if there was like flyweight, lightweight, middleweight, whatever, but they're all the same. Anybody can fight for these championships, whether you're 150 pounds or 350 pounds. You can challenge for a championship in AEW.
How many championships does AEW have?
Listen, how many times have you used the bathroom in the last 3 days? I don't know. Okay? You don't even know. And think about this. Aside from just whatever championships that have the AEW banner on them, okay? Tony also owns Ring of Honor. So all those championships show up on his TV. Then he has relationships with CMLL that Claudio Castagnoli won the World Heavyweight Championship over there. So that championship is on their TV. Konosuke Takeshita, who's an AEW star, is the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. So that company's title is on their TV. So if you ask me, AEW has like 8 million belts, and it's like everyone has one. It's like a participation, like Little League. There's no losers.
Again, for those of you that don't know, there's a lot of you that know what EFED is because you watch us and you've seen us in this field, and it's like, now I tried not to do it as much as others, but I did have a few belts. It's like, hey, you're the special guy. You got the Sesame Street Championship, but.
And how many times when we were just having random conversations about creative and EFED that I told you, we have too many belts. We have too many belts.
Absolutely.
Right? So nobody is telling Tony Khan this, apparently.
Right, because he owns, now he has ownership of other federations, and he's bringing those belts over. But WWE is also starting to do the same thing.
Yeah, I understand that. But the point is
doing it a little smarter right now, I'll say.
And you know, this is one thing that WWE used to do that I hate that they don't do now. When Dom was challenging for the Intercontinental Championship, he should have never had that AAA Megas Championship on his shoulder.
Right.
Because what they used to do back in the days was that if they had a working relationship with any federation, it didn't matter. They don't care. You're the champion on their show. On this show, you come out to the ring with no belt unless you win my belt. That was what Vince was saying.
Yeah.
Okay. But the problem is that since Tony owns it all or has relationships with everyone, if it's not an AEW branded championship, it's another company. So it's like everyone has a belt. And you know what? Let's just hurry up and bleed into the next thing, which is even more belts from AEW, because now they also have introduced women's tag team championships. But the women's tag team championships still have not been decided, because I personally thought that they were trying to build up Marina Shafir and Megan Bayne as this real, bad two female group that was like, the bad girls, right? And they were the ones to beat, because there was one big Amazonian one, and then the smaller one is like the MMA that she could still beat you up, and they're a force to be reckoned with. So I figured that since they already advanced a babyface team to the finals, which is Willow Nightingale, and I do not know the name of the other girl. She's the one that has the Mercedes Monet puppet. I know. If you don't know what I'm talking about.
Man, Harley.
Harley.
Like Harley.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't know. I didn't remember her name, so forgive me. Harley Quinn, correct?
It is not Harley Quinn. It's definitely Harley though.
Harley, whatever. Harley somebody. So forgive me, Harley. So they advanced to the finals. So I figured, okay, despite the fact that they're going to have a semifinal death match, no rules, blah blah blah, with
Harley Cameron. I am sorry,
Harley Cameron. Excuse me. So let's say it correctly. Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron are waiting in the finals for the winners of this death match. Whatever, tax tables, thumbs, and whatever. Between Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa versus the two ladies that I was just talking about, which is Marina Shafir and Megan Bayne. Now, everything I thought was set up for the two heels to go over here so that they'll face the two unlikely baby faces in the finals and win the championships. But Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa, after a wild match that included thumbtacks and nails and God knows what else, it's AEW. The babyface team wins, which means now that the first AEW tag team champions will, one way or another, be a babyface team. But I don't understand why they put in the finals. I get you could get away with it now. WWE did it. AJ Styles and Seth Rollins for the inaugural World Championship. But why build up these two women as like these monster bad heel girls to then beat them.
Again, I think it goes back to the word of the podcast. Maybe we should make this a whole segment from now on. Like, what is the word of the day for our podcast when it comes to all of wrestling? And right now, confusion.
Yep.
I think many of us are confused. But then you got the marks. Of course, there's a lot. There's a lot that I would defend, but there's some things you just can't defend because it don't make sense. There's so much. Wrestling is at a peak right now. I mentioned this last week. I mentioned it the first week was on. We're at a peak of wrestling where it is great. Wrestling's everywhere, and it's all confusing.
So now let's get to the C2 finally, the Continental Classic of AEW. But before we get there, before we update the standings, Kazuchika Okada defeated Pac this week on AEW television. So they both now have 3 points apiece, I believe. Kyle Fletcher defeated Kevin Knight, and Kyle Fletcher leads the Gold League because he's won twice. He's never lost. Kevin Knight is 1-1. But interestingly, Claudio Castagnoli leads the Blue League because he defeated his stablemate, Jon Moxley, in the main event of Dynamite. And an interesting comment because you know that the Death Riders are supposed to be like the big heel team of AEW. And what they're slowly doing on the show is that they're phasing Moxley out. They're going to kick him out. And so now that Claudio Castagnoli, Cesaro, for those of you who remember him as that, he defeated Moxley. And when he did, Bryan Danielson, who used to be part of this group, said something very interesting on commentary, which was, I never considered myself the leader of the Death Riders because I could never beat Jon Moxley. But now Claudio Castagnoli just did.
All right. Well, again, I should really start tuning into instead of here's the thing. I feel like that I get all of my information of the other product from you. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I should start watching or not. There's only so much I can take.
You might. You're good. We're gonna have to get you started at least for this until this Continental Classic is over, and then we could scale down maybe a little bit. But
fair.
So the last thing we'll discuss about AEW is the current standings in the Continental Classic. As I said, Claudio Castagnoli from the Blue League is in the lead with 6 points, followed by Jon Moxley and Konosuke Takeshita at 3 points each. Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and Mascara Dorada are still in the basement with 0 points. In the Gold League, Kyle Fletcher leads with 6 points, followed by Kazuchika Okada with 3 points and Kevin Knight with 3 points, and Pac with 3 points. Randomly, Darby Allin was supposed to be in the C2, and he was in the C2, and then they ran a storyline, or they showed him in a hospital, and I don't know if that's a storyline or if that's reality, but he's randomly out of the C2, and he already lost the match to Kevin Knight. But Jack Perry, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, you know, the one that had the whole scuffle with CM Punk, he takes his place in the tournament and apparently absorbs not only his place in the tournament, but his record of losses too. So Jack Perry comes into the tournament with a loss in a match that he was never in. Confusion. So, and Speedball Mike Bailey is also winless in the Gold League, and that is your current updated God. AEW Continental Classic, Gold and Blue League. Okay, finally, we're getting there, folks. TNA signed a new TV deal with the AMC network starting January 15th of next year. TNA Impact will be on the AMC network, and people are saying that this has to be like a very big premiere, and they better take full advantage of whatever WWE gives them for this premiere.
I seen that, and I had completely forgotten to mention, which I'm glad that you brought it up because I completely forgot to bring it up earlier. And hey, I think that TNA has all the potential to be the second biggest company in the world. Again, excuse me, again. So I'm pulling for TNA. I still like TNA. They bring back the thing is that when they bring back a lot of the old TNA faces, you're like, yeah, old TNA, because a lot of people really, really love TNA from that 2000 or 2002 to 2010 era. Uh, so I'm hoping that this is a big deal for them. I am pretty sure we're going to see some Joe Hendrys and some NXT members. We might even see a few bigger names from the WWE appear. It just depends. I mean, I'm pulling for them either way. I've always been a loyal TNA follower. Still a loyal TNA follower. I wish Sting would go back to TNA in a way. I would like to see Sting back into 2K games just simply for that. But that's my own opinion.
Well, I mean, I just hope TNA succeeds because I just want to see any company succeed because I have always been a fan of wrestling. And if somebody is willing to come out and entertain me, I want them to have a place to work. So, do I feel that TNA will ever be the number two company? Not as long as AEW is around because, as I said earlier, Tony Khan just has stupid amounts of money. And if he has more money, if he has more money than anybody named McMahon or whatever, then clearly he has more money than anybody that owns TNA. So he's going to be the number two guy so long as he keeps funding AEW. But I'm happy for TNA and good on them because TNA has been that company. They were the original AEW that people wished them to close and, were happy when every time that they failed and, LOL TNA and all that stuff. And they're still around and they're still kicking. And look at that now. After all these years of waiting, they've got a big time TV deal, and I'm happy for them.
Absolutely. I mean, when you hear these people that say, "Man, I wish this would happen to WWE," or especially, "Hey, I wish this would happen to Tony Khan or AEW," I don't want that at all because I want people to obviously have a place to go to work. I mean, these people bust their ass literally, whether it's in the WWE, TNA, AEW, Indies, whatever. I mean, that I want everybody to succeed because at the end of the day, no matter if it's confusing or not, I'm still going to watch because it's my number one priority of love over football, NBA, or anything else. It has always been, and it probably always will be.
Right. So, again, congratulations, TNA. I'm actually looking forward to watching that first episode because I know there's going to be a lot of surprises, and that's what basically professional wrestling is built on these days. So, hey, it's good to see someone else do it as opposed to the two big boys. So,
Yep.
I think we've covered pretty much everything that there is to cover in terms of WWE and AEW and a little TNA. So, let's talk real quick. I reached out to you the other day randomly and I told you, I was just on my I was just looking and I remembered that I don't remember where I saw it that they said Nevermore, the Raven Effect documentary is out now. And every time that I've seen a documentary released by somebody that was a professional wrestler that was like a cult hero but not really a big time hero, or a big time star, excuse me. He was more like a cult star for people. it's always been released like, it's filmed like on a iPhone, and they're following him around, and it's horrible editing, and it's like produced for like YouTube. So I started doing a little research, and then I saw that this Raven effect, Nevermore the Raven effect, was a Amazon Prime exclusive. So I was like, whoa, Amazon Prime exclusive. I was like, so Amazon bought the rights to this? I said, okay. Or to air it? I was like, okay. I was like, and exclusively. I said, well, something's got to be good about this. So I was telling Huck about it, and Huck's like, I mean, I'm a Raven fan, if you want to call it that, but I won't lose sleep about not knowing about Raven. I said, me neither, but something something good has to come out of this if it's been exclusively carried by Amazon Prime. And there's the poster right there.
Yes, sir. I would highly recommend anyone out there that just remotely loves wrestling to check this out, especially, for fans our age that grew up in the Attitude Era mainly, that went into loving ECW, WCW, the WWE, WWF at the time. I was never the biggest Raven fan, but I remember watching him in ECW. I remember when he came over to WCW with the Flock and had the Flock, and I remember him going into the WWE. And it's really interesting because I didn't realize how big and appreciated he actually was. That this man at a young age had a front office job with the WWE, and they considered him such a bright mind. Now I don't know where he would have went if he would have stayed with that, but he was literally the Kurt Cobain of the whole wrestling scene of that era, without the shotgun, of course. But Raven, I was actually impressed with the filming style of the documentary, and it wasn't so much just Raven. It was the actual style and breakdown of his whole career that impressed me. I was really happy you shared that with me, and I encourage everyone to go check this out. I think, how much is it to rent it? $2.99,
$5.
$5. It's worth it. It's like 2 hours long and worth every bit of it.
And to your point about him getting a producer job in WWF at the time, it was crazy and a little emotional for me when I saw him taking they showed photos in the documentary of him, a younger Raven, during this time that we're describing about him being a producer in WWF in like it's 1994, and he had on a hat that said WrestleMania 10, sitting next to Vince McMahon, who also had a WrestleMania 10 logo hat on. And it's emotional for me, because I went to that WrestleMania with the only WrestleMania I've ever attended with my grandmother, and that's an experience I'll never forget because I went to a WrestleMania in Madison Square Garden, and it was one of 3 WrestleManias at Madison Square Garden. And it's crazy to know that Raven, where he is now, he could have had a good, cozy job in the creative department or whatever they had him doing at the time in WWF. And who knows, him together with Paul Heyman, what could have been for creative.
Yeah. And you speak of WrestleMania 10. I mean, that was a huge WrestleMania. That was kind of like the big WrestleMania to see if the WWF could make it without Hulk Hogan. This was Bret Hart's big time. Owen, we thought Owen was going to be huge. He beat Bret at the beginning of the night, and then Bret went on to defeat Yoko at the end of the night, and we had Owen at the end of the ramp staring down. I mean, there was a lot of big possibilities and future that we could start from WrestleMania 10 and go into, and book our own, relive our own thing, book our own thing, how we would have done it. But overall, that was a whole new beginning for the WWF with the future. So that was a huge WrestleMania, and that Raven was even a part of that is crazy because I never knew that. I had no idea.
Me neither. And the fact that he gave that up, and then they go through his struggles with uh, drugs and alcohol and all the other things that he's gone through, and then they show him current day that he um, has a fiance that goes to sleep worried that she doesn't know if he's going to wake up the next day from the effects of everything that he's done to himself in professional wrestling. I don't want to give it all away here because it is worth the watch, folks.
Right.
Go to Amazon Prime. You don't have to
It's
have an account.
emotional. It's emotional, especially during that part.
Right. You don't have to have an account or anything. You could just pay the $5 to watch it, and it's worth the watch.
Yeah.
And the producers, or maybe Raven himself, still have a relationship with WWE because because unlike a lot of documentaries that just show you like old still pictures that aren't owned by WWE in their documentaries, they actually show you like actual footage that WWE has shown before in documentaries, which means that they got a favor from WWE. So Nevermore, The Raven Effect, I give it a 5 out of 5. Go check it out. You are missing out if you are not checking out Nevermore, The Raven Effect. And here's some homework for the fans watching, because we're going to wrap up soon. Next week, we're going to talk about another documentary that's on Amazon, which is called 350. The title is 350. Just go check it out. That's all I'm going to say. We'll cover it here next week. So, Huck, before we go, because we've talked for over an hour about professional wrestling, 50 Cent produced a documentary, a 4-part documentary on Sean Diddy Combs called Diddy's Reckoning, which released this past Monday. Was it Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday on Netflix.
It was Monday.
The second. Whatever day the second was. And it is a very deep, dark, disturbing watch. All around. It's 4 episodes that it's like, I don't know. It's not as worse as Surviving R. Kelly, but it's getting close to it.
Yeah. Watching, because we were here, watching that documentary was one thing. Living it and then watching the documentary, and you go back and you look at Diddy dancing at the MTV Music Awards, went after in tribute of Biggie Smalls, and you kind of think of like, what have you really done? What do we really still not know? It's deep. It's a lot deep, and the fact that this man is sitting in prison right now with only 4 years, and he's going to get out in half of that, if not less than half of that. I will say that his fiance, I feel like she, even though she testified and everything, I feel like she knows a whole lot more than what she testified for, and I feel like she was in on a whole lot of things as well. So I'm not going to say she's innocent by any means.
You mean Cassie?
Yes.
She's what destroyed the whole prosecution's case.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
If you notice during the whole documentary, people say he hit her, he did this or that. But the stuff that they actually had her testifying to, because one of his charges was that he was trafficking her, right? Was anything that they talked about that was R-rated plus in terms of sexual activities, she was completely in on it. And not one person that they interviewed talking about it was like she was held there against her will or
she was
anything
not.
like that.
Everybody, that's the thing, is if you watch this, not one single person said she was held against her will. And that's why the man only got 4 years and will only do half of that.
Right. And don't get me wrong, that there is some people in the documentary that I don't believe a lot of the things that they say. I won't name them here because I don't want this to turn
Do
into a
you
conversation.
believe that they kept cups of?
Yes, yes, that I believe. I do not believe the story about him going randomly to want to go murder Kid Cudi. That now, if that were Suge Knight, yes, I believe it one hundred
Oh,
percent.
absolutely.
Yes, and it wouldn't even take a gun because knowing Suge Knight, he want to do it with his bare hands.
Oh,
But uh, but I don't believe that story. I don't believe a lot of the stuff, and I won't say the stuff that I believe because I actually want the people to go check it out and give their own opinions, and we can have a conversation about it another time. But Diddy is another good watch. It is not something that should be done on family night. I'll say it that. I'll say it like that. Um, and it gives you a lot of insight
yeah.
to this man's mindset and the fact that he filmed himself before he got arrested and made himself look worse and somehow did not pay for that footage before he went in or while he was in is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I think I said it to you, and it remains, to be undisputed, is that, and I'm fine to say it right now. The undisputed, all these rappers, all these, film stars, actors, actresses, athletes, but especially in the music industry, you know, uh,
Entertainment industry as a whole.
we we don't even know the half.
Mm-hmm.
And now when I do hear a whistleblower come out, and instead of saying, "Oh, you're full of crap," I listen, because it's probably a lot of truth there. Even if it's made up, I bet there's a lot of truth there somewhere.
Right. And one thing I'll say real quick before we close out here. The one girl that I actually felt sorry for was the girl from the group. Uh, uh, I think it was Danity Kane or Dirty Money, the one that actually like
Make it from
defended
making the
him.
band.
No, no, the girl that they showed that actually defended him. That
Oh, yeah,
she's
yeah, 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 yeah.
um. So I felt bad for that girl because you could tell by her unless she's a phenomenal actress and she really has nothing to gain because she asked the guy who's supposedly worth $1 billion for $5,000 and he said he couldn't. So
Maybe we should keep talking about Diddy because our viewership went up by almost 30.
wow.
Yeah.
So um so the girl, she what Jesus, her name. Anyway, she has an exotic, unusual name, but she um defended Diddy and she said that whatever her bandmate was saying about him or whatever is lies. And she said, and I again, she says she has nothing to gain from this, and I believe her. She said that she asked the man for $5,000 and he said no.
Her name was Aubrey, apparently, from what my assistant has told me.
Thank you. So
Aubrey
okay.
O'Day.
Oh no. No, Aubrey O'Day is not that person.
That is
Aubrey
not
O'Day
that
is
person. False
so
information. Fake news.
so anyway, this girl was there bawling her eyes out, and she said, I don't know if he did what he did. I never saw it. What do you want me to tell you? And people are eating her up for that, like, oh, she's lying. Why can't she just listen? There's things that people have been accused of that other people have came and told me about that they said, you never saw them do that. And I said, no, I didn't. Okay. And am I a liar or did I just not see it?
Right. And that's the thing that I'm glad you brought up, because I feel the exact same way when it comes down to the Epstein list as well. When they say, hey, you think Tom Hanks is on it? Do you think Jim Carrey's on it? You think Trump did this? You think Joe Biden was there? You think they know about? I don't know. I don't know.
The girl's name is Kalani Harper. That's the girl who
Gotcha.
defended Diddy. There you go. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Anyway,
about the
like I
Epstein
said,
thing?
I feel the same way about like the Epstein list. You know, I don't know. I don't know if Trump was there. I don't know if Bill Clinton was there. I don't know if Trump's telling the truth if he was there or not there. I know the man had a picture of a naked Bill Clinton on his wall, like it was
Normal.
yeah. So I don't know. But the thing is do I think Hollywood is Hollywood for a reason? Absolutely. They're probably all tied in some way or another.
Right. And even if whatever comes from these Epstein's files, like, what are you going to do to 80-year-old Donald Trump and Bill Clinton? Put him in front of a firing squad? Like,
right.
Or you're just going to wait on time to take them away? But I do not want to get into that subject right now. The Diddy documentary is a very interesting watch. It tells you basically his life story from when he first started off at Uptown Records through becoming the basically like the Shawn Michaels to Biggie Smalls' Diesel. You like that reference?
Yeah.
Trying to take the glory for himself. What his role was in the murders of Tupac and Biggie. The one thing that people now bring up a lot about that documentary was like, oh, he never paid anybody. I was like, that's not news. That wasn't even a thing before he became, known for being a predator with millions of bottles of what? Okay, what do we have more of? Mercedes Monet championships or bottles of Diddy's baby oil?
Jesus Christ.
No, better question. More championships that are under the watch of Tony Khan or baby oil bottles that Diddy had in his house? There you go. I can't even talk about it. It gets me. I get nervous and anxious just thinking about how many titles are in AEW or just Tony Khan alone.
Maybe Tony Khan should team up with P. Diddy at this point. They can compare.
Oil belts.
Oh,
there you go.
Oil belts.
Oil championships. So
with that, I think we should definitely wrap up.
We've gone a long time. And it's been fun, but we need to come back next week to give you guys more entertainment. So go ahead.
Well, we will be back next week for the XwE podcast. I appreciate all of you for joining in. I am going to end the show by saying you can check us out with all the links that I'm about to post in the outro for Rich Diaz, the Morgue Man, for myself, the Macho Huck, and for the assistant back there that maybe some of you may have heard, and for also the cameo of the 900 cats we have. 900 cats, 900 bottles of bottles, and 900
baby oil
for AEW.
And 900 championships. There you go.
Yes, I'm the Macho Huck. That's the Morgue Man. We'll see you next week. Maybe.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise for